And I'm still pessimistic and hopefully, optimistic, sorry, not pessimistic, and hopefully one day it will happen. I'm not going to give up. And I see my future, the future of my people, not just myself. If you ask me, I will focus on education. And this is what I always tell my kids, my children, and anyone who I know work with. Education is another identity. Because it's, believe me, it's a very, very painful experience to be a refugee. Just, you are, yani, you exist and you don't exist. So, but when you are, and how people treat you, you are just a refugee. But yeah, they look at you down. You are a refugee. It's not necessarily when they see you face to face, but listen to the news. When they talk about Palestinian refugees as if they are, you know, some viruses or bacteria or. While when you meet sometimes people and you start to talk and they look at you, are you Palestinians? I don't believe that. They think it's a compliment. It turns up into to be insulting. What do you think? They think that Palestinians are just horrible people. They just wanted. So I think education is another identity. Like when you are well educated, when you are able to speak, when you are able to do things, then this is another, like, this is a passport for you to pass through everything. And I think education is the key issue in the refugee situation. Hope that the international community will do something about it, because always I say this conflict, this problem is not created by the Palestinians. It's not created by the Jewish people. It's not created by the Lebanese. It's created by the international community. When they accept and they decided and they agreed on the division of Palestine after the Second World War, and they facilitate for the creation of Israel. So for this reason, they have to take full responsibility also to help the Palestinians. And when we, you know, because I run an organization, sometimes, you know, when you write proposal, it's like begging to get money and funds. I say, no, we are not begging, because Palestinians, very well-known fact, in Palestine, they were very rich in this area. And it's a rich country. And what they are doing, the international community, it's a little bit what they should do, because they are responsible of what happened to the Palestinians, and they should take the responsibility, and it's their duty to help the Palestinians. It's not because they are generous. It's their duty to help the Palestinians.
And also the last one, you know that, I mean, from when stuff happens in a country, in different places, you hear different stories of it.
Mm-hmm.
What's the story of Palestinians about the things that happen to their country? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
How
how people their perception. What we hear from ordinary people like, you know, after the Second World War, people like Jewish people started to come from Britain, from as, you know, running away from the war, coming to Palestine. People were receiving them. It was, you know, and there are many rumors like Palestinians sold their land. It's not true. It's not true, because all these people in the camp, many of them, they still have their papers. But many of them lost it, because like my grandparents, they had the key of their house and all the papers. But when their house was destroyed in the civil war in Lebanon, we lost everything. But people did not sell their land. People were really worried and really scared from what's happening, especially after Deir Yassin massacre. It's like the news.
I know the story, but can you tell it too?
It's when people were going to work, when they stopped them and they killed all of them, and they went into the village and they killed, and so.
How many people? I mean, all the village, or how many people?
Yeah, it's not in my head, but many people were killed, and the news spread quickly in Palestine, so people were really scared and frightened. I'll tell you this story about that. Like when I was teenage and young, and I was always angry and blaming my grandparents of leaving Palestine. Like, why you left? You should have stayed. You should have died in your land, etc., etc. And always like that. Went on and on like that. until early 90s, there was a war in Lebanon. And I was married with the children. And that was the first time I,
Which war was it in 90s?
many wars in Lebanon. This is
Which one are you?
this is 1991. This is the war between General Aoun group and the Syrian.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was in the camp, living in the camp, and I had 2 children at that time. I was scared to death, you know. I was making them milk and breakfast early morning when I hear the bombing. One of them, like, you know, I hold both of them. I didn't know what to do. Believe me, at that minute, I wanted to be like a bird flying anywhere. Then I thought, oh my God, now I understand why my grandparents, why people left Palestine. Like what always my grandmother used to say, you know, I don't want to lose my children. I wanted to go for a peaceful place. So, and then after that, I went and I apologized from my grandmother because I was very tough on her. Yeah.
So you were telling the story. Sorry. Story of Palestine.
Yeah, so we hear like in West, they don't want the Jewish people. So they want them first. They were planning to send them to Uganda, to Argentina, and then at the end they choose to send them to Palestine because it's a holy land there. It's also they have
Zionists was
yes,
wanted to go there.
yeah. So the British also, because Palestine was under the British colony, so the British also facilitate for them and help them with all their ways. We hear also, like, you know, the Salvation Army, the Arab Salvation Army, came to help the Palestinians, and really the men they came wanted to help, but they have the weapons were out of order, like did not work.
Really?
Yeah, this is, we hear this many times, like,
Wow.
you know, like, so everyone was participating in creating this catastrophe.
Do you have anything to say that I haven't asked?
No, but just to say, like, we have very nice people. We have very tough people. We have like all nations. Like, you can't say Palestinians are terrorists. Like, you know, this is that stigma. No, it's not true. And we have, like, all over the places. We have very beautiful, very nice, very well behaved. Like, and we have the opposite. So we want to change this also attitude from the world. We are human beings, and we want to be treated as a human beings.
Oh, and also I think I saw some pictures in the streets from people that are considered terrorists in other countries, but here they like them. I
No,
don't know
yes,
what's the
exactly, because
question,
this
but
is politics. Yeah, this is politics. Maybe, you know, like, who defined terrorism, for example? Give me a definition to terrorism. Like, maybe what's like you consider terrorist, maybe someone else consider them not. So everyone see this term from their angle, from what they consider they are doing. So some people, they support this country, some people they don't, some people they see, for example, Saddam Hussein as a hero, for example. He is, especially the way he was killed, some people they see, even those who don't agree with Saddam Hussein, like they see him as, you know, dictatorship, and they did not agree with the way he was killed. The first day of the Muslim feast, he was slaughtered, he was, so, yani, it's like all these terms are very wide, and people see them from their own angle. So I think this is the reason.